It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 118. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. Another great day for a podcast about video games and more. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever you are and whenever you are listening to this podcast. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to do something, so how rude of me. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I have been unable to get on a consistent streaming schedule, but one day this might come to fruition, so we will see. But please follow me there on Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow. I do some streaming from time to time. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you would like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And this show I keep rambling on about, I'm going to tell you about it. So what goes on with this show? Today's show, as always, is going to have 3 sections. The first section, I'll tell you about what's going on in my video game life, what I am playing, what games I've picked up, all sorts of my personal video game journey. My personal video game journey. The mid section of the show, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle section, and that's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world. So I would say that's the most important section of the show each week. It keeps you up to date with rumors, news, releases, speculation, sales, all sorts of things across the video game world. And the third section is a break from the video game world, the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. And I usually get into the worldwide world of sports in that section, and today will be no exception. I'll be talking sports at the end of the show. So just thank you so much for being here. And let's get into some video games. So what have I been playing this week? I haven't really played too many video games this week, to be straight up, but I've played a couple things here and they're both Metroid games. So I've been playing Metroid Fusion. I picked up a Game Boy Advance SP recently, so I've been playing Metroid Fusion on that. That's been the main game I've really kept in the system. It's the first one I actually picked up for the console. So I've been having some fun with that, and no giant plans there, except for getting a little bit better at Metroid, so it's been fun. The Game Boy Advance experience has been very nice. I like how simple it is. The screen looks really, really amazing. The sound works well. I went to use some wired headphones in it the other day, and it does not have a standard headphone jack. So I was thinking that was the case, but it is not. I think you can buy some type of adapter to do so, but there's something to take note of out there in the world, but maybe you already know that. But it's very lightweight, so that's been really nice for holding. It's really good for just, if you're laying around and want to play something, and it has just a great form factor to it. So it's a little bit more of a true handheld experience, I would say. Even though, the Switch, you can play handheld, all these sorts of things. There's all sorts of great systems to play handheld, but sometimes it's nice to have a really simple one, and it really is lightweight and easy to hold. So been having some fun with that console. Going to be Metroid Fusioning on there for a while. I usually play this game until I get to a save point, and then chicken out a little bit and back out and then tackle some more the next day. But I've been having a lot of fun with the side-scrolling. I have the missiles. I have the morph ball, so I am having a whole lot of fun with Metroid Fusion. So the other game I've been playing is Metroid Prime Remastered on the Switch. So I've been making some progress here as well. I have the morph ball. I have the rockets. And I am just exploring the world and having fun doing so. So I haven't really gotten too stuck anywhere, which has been nice, because that's usually my MO with these Metroid games or Metroid style of games. But I've just been slowly progressing. I've learned that you need to analyze the world. That would be my biggest tip in this game, besides just learning the combat and the moves that work and things like that. You need to use your scanner to check out what's going on around the scenery of the world. There can be lots of clues, or there can oftentimes, or I don't know about oftentimes, but in recent times I had a situation where you had to scan some things in the room to activate some things. So it was very helpful, and it was a search across this big giant room for numerous things, and once you scanned them, it opened up the top passageway. So I guess there's going to be more things like that throughout this game. And I think this game does a great job of like tutorializing everything early on. So been having a lot of fun with the Metroid series, and those have been the main things I've been playing this week that I have anything really to say about. So I'm always kind of jumping in and out of some other games, but that's been the primary focus of when I've been going to pick up some games this week. Been playing some Metroid. I can see myself continuing to do so. I think for the GBA SP for my Game Boy Advance, I think that's the only game I really wanted to play on there at the moment. The only other game I want to pick up would be A Link to the Past at some point. And I do have Yoshi's Island for that. That was the game I bought along when I bought the console, but that was basically just to try out the system. So Metroid Fusion is the focus there. I'm trying to think what else I have for video game plans. This is the year of no direction on the Dep Lewis Show for genre or anything that specific I'm trying to play video game wise. So I'm just kind of doing whatever I want. So I've been into a lot of the PlayStation mascot games recently, like Crash and Sly and Ratchet and Jack and Spyro. That Jack collection, Jack and Daxter collection, if you want to buy some digital games on the PlayStation Network, is $19.99 right now, US dollars. I believe that's 50% off, and you get 4 games included in there. So you get Jack 1, 2, and 3, and you get Jack Combat Racing. So a really good deal. These games are still pretty inexpensive on the PlayStation 2, but you have to go through the ordeal. If you don't have a CRT TV, it's a little bit hard to get them to look nice on current gen TV. So it's a good way to play them. And then they do have the Jack collection on PS3, and I think that's pretty reasonably priced for what it is. But $20 is pretty inexpensive in terms of video games, and you get 4 video games in there, 4 classic video games, I believe some people would say, and I'm excited to play them at some point. So I've been playing the PlayStation mascot games on Nintendo. I've been looking into, I've been playing, dipping my toe into some Luigi's Mansion, some Metroid like I've been talking about, and some Paper Mario. I have plenty of RPGs that I can play if I would like to. I have Secret of Mana, I have Dragon Quest, I don't know why I said it like that. I have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I have Persona 5 Royal, I have the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Super Mario RPG. So I have a definite backlog of games that I'm very interested in and excited to play. So that is kind of a little bit of direction in the year of no direction. So that is what is going on with me in the video game world. Been playing some Metroid Fusion, been thinking about some games to play, been dipping in and out of some games, and that's usually the case with me. So that's what I've been playing this week. I have picked up a video game this week that I played a little bit of, but I'm going to hold that for the middle section of the show and tell you about what's going on with that video game. So that's a little bit of a teaser, and that is everything going on with me in the video game world. Let me try to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. No, I'll tell you more about that video game in the middle section along with the news and everything. So this has been the intro to the show. That's been everything I've been playing this week, and you can come back next week to this section and I'll tell you what else I've been playing and more of my video game thoughts. So just thank you for listening to this. You're going to hear some music, and we're going to come back for the middle section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 118 after this. Welcome back to the mid-section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 118. This is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So the first thing I want to tell you about is a video game release, and I mentioned this in the first section, and it's been a huge cliffhanger from the first section of the show. I know you've been waiting on bated breath. It's really been driving you crazy about what game was he talking about, and that game is Monster Hunter Wilds. This game released last week on February 8th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. It's developed and published by Capcom. The standard edition is $69.99 US dollars. In this game, the back of the box talk on this is the unbridled force of nature runs wild and relentless, with environments transforming drastically from one moment to the next. This is a story of monsters and humans and their struggles to live in harmony in a world of duality. This is a story of monsters. And I wrote that note twice. Really, really smart of me there. But they're saying the ultimate hunting experience awaits you in Monster Hunter Wilds. So I have started this game, but only about an hour, so I don't think I have too much to say about this yet. Besides, the game looks really, really great. The controls feel good. It's impressive how precise the controls seem to be in this game, and how many options there are from, just swinging a single hammer. There's a bunch of different things you can do, and just trying the weapons out at the beginning is extremely fun and definitely gives a snapshot of what the game is going to be like. And even now I'm thinking of comparing it to Splatoon 3 in my mind a little bit, which is a very high compliment from myself because I love that game. And thinking of the weapon choice, it kind of does remind me of Splatoon 3. It is really adding the variety to the world. You know, the world is ever changing, like they're saying, and there's different stuff going on around the open world. But having the weapon be an integral part of what's going on is very, very interesting and adds a nice layer to the video gaming. So I really enjoyed that early on, and I spent a lot of time doing the character creation and picking my character, picking my sidekick, the Palico, which is a really nice touch. They have like 13 different Palicos, and all very, different range. They have a grumpy one, they have some extra cute ones, they got some fluffy ones. So they have a nice range of cat characters in this game, and the game really does just look impressive. All the sand desert area from the opening intro is really, really cool, and walking around there on the secrets, I believe they're called, and I think those, it's like your horse or your loyal steed. It's Rotary Pona in this game, I guess, are these secrets, and they will kind of auto travel to your destination, and you can swerve them off course if you'd like to at any moment. But then if you quit taking control, they'll kind of go back on route, which is pretty nice and interesting. I don't know if that's been done before in this particular manner, but it's a nice touch early on in this game of something that is cool. So been having a good time with this game early on. I have gone with the bow, so that's what I've chosen to play with on this first playthrough. After trying all the weapons, I think it was between that, the hammer, one of the swords, and then maybe some of like the Gatling gun type things were on my short list. But the bow feels really good. I enjoyed doing the opening mission where you kill the big first monster, and I like not having to get too close to the enemies, so I'm figuring the bow is going to be a good choice for that. And it's fun trying to hit the particular points on the monster, which seems to be very important in this game. And you want to, if you open a wound, you want to keep attacking that wound. So having the bow allows me to be precise from a distance, and I have been enjoying that. So especially, I plan on playing this game solo. I think this is a great co-op game out there in the world, but I plan on playing solo, so hopefully my bow and I can be strong enough to defeat these monsters on my own, and I can do so at a distance. It might just take a little bit more time, I guess, but it's been a really, really fun start to this game, and it's been the first game I've purchased this year, so really seeming like a great release. I think it's been selling like some people would say, like hotcakes, and I think it's really been blowing up the charts and doing all those kind of things. So Capcom is dancing in the streets, and wherever they are at, they're dancing because they're happy. And Monster Hunter Wilds has had a great release, so I'm going to be talking more about this game as I play it, and I am excited about this release. And this is, the first game of 2025 I have purchased, like the first new game of the year I've purchased. That's not retro or anything, so the first game that's in consideration for Game of the Year on the Dep Lewis Show. Boom, boom, boom. So Monster Hunter Wilds out now. Go check it out, and I'll possibly be streaming some of that on twitch.tv/DepLewisShow, so please follow me everywhere you can. So what else is going on around the video game world? One of my favorite franchises, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I guess it was a couple weeks ago they announced their announcement. So a lot of people do that nowadays, but they are saying on March 4th, 2025, which is 2 days away from now if you're listening in real time, they have some announcement coming. And everyone, I don't know if it's been data mined or leaked or whatever, but everyone is speculating this is going to be the announcement of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. And I guess that's why they're wanting to announce this on March 4th, the 3 and the 4. Very clever there, Mr. Tony Hawk. So they're saying that this game's already been rated in Singapore, I guess is a little bit of the source of the leak for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This will definitely be a day one purchase for me. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is one of my favorite video games of all time. I'm not immediately remembering what's going on in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, so I'll be interested to dive back into that as well. And I think all the goodwill they built up with the first release of the remaster of Tony Hawk's 1+2 is going to have a lot of people immediately on board with this game because they did such a wonderful job with that package of remastering two games that people hold with really, really high regard and bringing them to the modern world and just improving upon the formula. So I expect them to do that here. I don't know if this is going to be a full price game. I wonder about that. I think the first Tony Hawk's 1+2 remaster maybe was at the $49.99 US dollars. Definitely been a lot less since then, but I wonder if this will be like a full price release up in the $59 or $69.99 range. So something to keep in mind. But this announcement is going to be in the upcoming week for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, whatever's coming up with them. Everything I just mentioned is rumor and speculation, but it's all signs point to that. But we're going to get some information from them, and we can confirm it on March the 4th, 2025. So I'll definitely be talking about that and catching you up on that with what happened there next week on the next episode of Dep of the Dep Lewis Show. All right, so Tony Hawk, that's the news there. The sad news from this week, Warner Brothers Games, a giant company, has announced that they are closing 3 of their studios. So this is a ever occurring, especially recently, trend of video game studios getting shut down or having layoffs, and this is one of those similar cases. So T's and P's, thoughts and prayers to everyone involved in this who has lost their job, and hopefully they can land on their feet and find a job quickly. And that is really the only thing I can find myself thinking to say when these situations happen. They happen very often. So Warner Brothers Games is closing 3 of their studios. They said it's very difficult and not a reflection of these teams or the talent that consists within them, and a result of strategic change in direction. So I do always like hearing the corporate statements. They're all very similar, and they all kind of reiterate the same thing, that they're trying to change their direction a little bit, and in doing so you have to make some cuts here and there, blah 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 blah. So it's really the same thing they always say, and I think I always kind of come back to saying it's poor planning at the least is what we can say about them. But they're closing Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers Games San Diego. So 3 studios. Thoughts and prayers to all those people. The development of Monolith's Wonder Woman video game will not move going forward. So that was a big news there that everyone was wondering about upon this announcement. What was going to happen to the Wonder Woman game, and it will not be going forward with production, is what they're saying. So bad news there for people looking forward to the Monolith's Wonder Woman game. They've also said more about this of the reasoning. They say we have to make some very difficult decisions to structure our development studios and investments around building the best games possible with our key franchises: Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones. So I think leaving that last part out would maybe have been beneficial to them, because a lot of people can look at this and say, hey, I'm not interested in any of those franchises. What am I? Why should I have any interest in you as a company as a whole? So I think it kind of segregates some people. It's not the worst thing, because they're really giant franchises with large fan bases, so at least they're going to be able to have some of them. But it just seems like a little bit of a weird statement to actually name the other franchises you want to highlight. Maybe you can just do so separately, would be kind of that would be my advice over here. It's just a simple human on the internet. But, thoughts and prayers to all those people. Warner Brothers Games closing down 3 studios, and hopefully all those people will land on their feet. So, more sad video game news, which we do get from time to time. But back to more video game news, things you need to know, information, what's going on since the last time I talked to you. And a video game has got delayed, and something I'm excited for, and that is Fable. So Fable from Microsoft has been delayed from 2025. We did not have a firm release date. All we had was 2025 to 2026. I don't think this is too surprising, because we haven't seen too much of it. They do show off some new gameplay of this, which looks very interesting. It looks like it's a good mix of modern visuals with some of the whimsy of the old Fable games. So I think all of those things are looking pretty good, and I'm certainly in the camp of let them take their time to release these video games. I'm really tired of video games being released in unfinished states when it's not early access or something like that. So I would definitely say wait. I would tell them to wait as long as they can to release this. There's a million of video games out there, but either way, it's sometimes sad when these games get delayed because you're excited for them. But either way, Fable's been delayed. It's the upcoming reboot of the Xbox franchise. Fable 1 initially released in 2004, so it's been a long time coming. There's been numerous games in the series. UK studio Playground is developing this game, the Forza devs, so that's an interesting thing here. I definitely love Playground for their development of the Forza games. Those are some of my favorite games ever. Xbox is saying it's going to definitely be worth the wait, so I hope that's the case. And I think that's the right thing to say. And if you don't know about Fable, the back of the box talk on this one is, what does it mean to be a hero? Well, in the fairy tale land of Albion, that is entirely up to you. With a dark threat looming, your choices will change Albion forever. So really, really cool video game. Something I'd like to go back and play, Fable 1, 2, and 3. I think I've completed all those games back in the day, and I think Fable 2 I might have beaten a couple times. So it would be kind of a revisiting, but it would be fun to do so, because it's been a really, really long time since I played them. But I was looking, these games are very inexpensive to buy nowadays if you want to. You can get copies of them, I think, except for the Fable Remaster anniversary thing. I think that's around $30, but I think Fable 2 and 3 will run you less than $10 digitally or physically if you want to have either option. So pretty nice. But Fable has been delayed from 2025 to 2026 is the news from Microsoft. All right, staying with the, Xbox side of things, but this is actually going to the PlayStation side of things, which we already have known from a previous announcement. But Forza Horizon 5 has now officially got a release date of when it is coming to PlayStation 5. And that is going to be April 29th, 2025. Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5. And it's going to have a PS5 Pro enhanced version. So I guess the best place to play Forza Horizon 5 is on the PlayStation now, because it's going to have the Pro enhancement that the Xbox Series X doesn't quite have. But I don't know if there's been a case out there in the world for the PlayStation 5 Pro being necessary for anybody, but to anyone who's bought that, that's a nice thing to see the potential of happening. So the initial release of Forza Horizon 5 was November 2021. It was an outstanding, wonderful video game. One of my, I love the Forza Horizon series and the regular Motorsport series as well. So I don't really have anything too bad to say about them. Besides, I think you should play them, and I'm excited that other people are going to get the chance to play them that maybe have never gotten to. It looks like it's going to be $59.99 for the base game and $99.99 US dollars if you want to play the early premium edition. So I guess that's the case with all video games these days. There's going to be an expensive version that is about $30 more that you can get 3 days of early access to play, and there's no guarantee the game is in completed state. But I would believe Forza Horizon 5, because this game came out in 2021, so it has many, many years of working the kinks out and all those kind of things, and I believe it was a fully functioning game when it released. So I think there's some good pedigree here for believing this is going to be a well worthy purchase. But I don't know about paying that $30 to play 3 days early. I think that is a little bit crazy, and I believe I've done it before. I don't know if I've done it before, but I would really be happy if I never did it again, because it just doesn't seem like the best practice unless it's like your most anticipated game of the decade or something. And even then, you might just want to wait the 3 days and save your moolah for something else in that scenario. But Forza Horizon 5 coming to PlayStation 5 officially got a date for April 29th, 2025. All right, what else is going on? Dragon Age The Veilguard is a video game that released last year, October 31, 2024, developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts. I would say this game did not do well, and I think this is an indication of that. This game is actually coming to PlayStation Plus in March, along with Sonic Colors and the TMNT Cowabunga Collection. So just interesting to point out Dragon Age The Veilguard after it's, I guess not, I wouldn't say controversial, but I think it was hit or miss with a lot of people if they like this video game. And Dragon Age is kind of a storied franchise that a lot of people hold in high esteem, and I don't know if this one lived up to the hype for at least half the fan base. I don't know if it garnered any new fans either. So my estimation, this game was not a success, but there's probably some good things in this game, but who knows. But Dragon Age The Veilguard is coming to PlayStation Plus, so if you were looking to try it out and you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, that is good news for you. You can unite the Veilguard and defy the gods in this immersive single-player RPG where you become the leader others believe in. So just wanted to point this out because we've had a lot of video games recently come out and kind of be flops, and it's interesting to follow how they handle some of these things of trying to get more players into them. And this is definitely one of the plays in the playbook. When your video game doesn't come out and sell all that well, you can put it on one of these free Netflix-style services and hope to get some more eyeballs on it to kind of recoup some losses. But I don't think it's good news overall for these video games. And I think, maybe rightfully so with the quality of this game. I can't speak on that. I didn't play it myself, but it doesn't seem like it was setting the world on fire with its actual gameplay and story and all the things that are fun about video games. All right, so that's Dragon Age The Veilguard coming to PlayStation Plus. A little bit of surprising news there, I guess, but maybe not. All right, a franchise or a video game I really liked from back in the day is having a remaster that's coming out, and they're going to remaster 3 of them, a trilogy. It's going to be the Gex Trilogy, so coming in 2025 is all we know right now, but we know this is going to exist. It's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam, so I guess everything right there except for Switch, pretty much. It's going to be published by Limited Run Games. It's going to include Gex, the original Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. The original Gex is from 1995. These games were developed by Crystal Dynamics. I believe all 3 of them were. And Gex Enter the Gecko is the one I remember from being a younger person. It released in 1998, and I played this on the Nintendo 64. And this is one I think was a case of where I rented this game a few times and then maybe finally purchased it, and was just a really sought after game by myself for whatever reason. So it definitely holds some nostalgia to me for Gex. And I don't think I've played any of the other 2 games really. I would maybe be interested to go back and play some of this hopefully it's not going to be too expensive of a trilogy, but we will see. So just wanted to put that out there. I definitely haven't thought about Gex in a long time, so it's cool to see Gex coming back up for a summer release of the Gex trilogy. So what else do I have to say about Gex? Gex Enter the Gecko released in 1998. Yeah, I played the N64 version of this, and there was also released on PlayStation and Game Boy Color, I guess, simultaneously, or within some sort of short window there. So a multi-platform release right there for the Gex Enter the Gecko. So some Gex news. Bet you didn't really plan to hear that in 2025, but it's here. All right, a couple more things today for the midsection for all the video game news I have for you. One of my favorite video games of all time, a winner of the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year award, that's Splatoon 3. The only announcement here is with the turnover to March, the 2025 Spring Fresh season has started. There is a schedule for different events like Curling Hurl, the Big Run, the Duel of Dynamic Duos, Dualies at 10 Paces, and Monthly Challenge. So the main thing I'm looking out for is the next upcoming Splatfest. Maybe we'll see one in the upcoming weeks, and I'll definitely plan to be playing in that and talking about it here on the Dep Lewis Show. So I love some Splatoon 3. I just wanted to remind you out there in the world about the fresh season starting and to keep an eye out for the next upcoming Splatfest, because I am ready to pick a side and win this time. So the other thing I want to do about Splatoon 3, a little bit of a placeholder for me, a little reminder here, is I want to figure out the ranked matches. Last time I was streaming, I was playing Splatoon 3. I jumped into the ranked matches and didn't really know what to expect. So I didn't immediately figure out what was going on in the match I was playing. I didn't immediately find an answer online. So I don't think I looked deep enough, or I don't think I just put in enough effort to figure out what's going on with that. So I definitely want to do so. And that is a reminder to myself that I'll probably be talking about that in a future episode of Dep Lewis Show. So that's the Splatoon 3 news for you. The last thing I just have a placeholder for is Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. We're going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so exactly a month away if you're listening in real time. So that is very exciting. I'm guessing pre-orders are going to go up that day, so a good time to start saving some money, to quit spending some money, and get ready to possibly pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 that's going to get announced, or possibly get announced for pre-order with that upcoming Direct. So I haven't heard any other really hot rumors or anything, hot gossip. Everything seems to be going according to plan. And the only thing I want to know is the launch games. I've been watching a lot of retro stuff. A lot of people talk about past releases, and I think the console launch lineup is a thing that was lost last generation, or a little bit muddied. Where you have games coming over, games releasing on two separate consoles. It really is different from back in the day, and not that everything has to be the same as back in the day, but I think it's a nice thing when you have a console release, they have some exclusive games to play with it. And back in the day, it would be an argument, between, hey, let me look at the exclusives or the launch titles coming out on each console. They're not all going to be the same, and I got to, pick which one I want to get. So, still in the world today, you have to make these choices with how expensive these video games are. So, I just think, I think it would be interesting, or I am interested to hear what the launch titles are going to be. So, maybe some 3D Mario. All we really know is about the Mario Kart. Maybe some Donkey Kong in there, maybe get a new Splatoon, maybe some Animal Crossing, maybe all the things I like is kind of what I'm naming here, but I am looking forward to it. We're 1 month officially away from the next Nintendo Direct, and I will definitely be talking about that on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's everything I have for Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Really nothing to report there, except to keep the upcoming Direct on your mind and in mind. And that's everything I have for you for the midsection this week. So that's all the video game news and information that you need to know. Monster Hunter Wilds is out right now. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater has an announcement in the upcoming week that I'll tell you about next week, what happens there. Warner Brothers Games has closed 3 studios, Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers Games in San Diego. Fable has been delayed to 2026. Forza Horizon 4 is coming to PS5 on April 29th. Dragon Age The Veilguard is coming to PlayStation Plus. Gex Trilogy is coming out this summer. Splatoon 3 has now moved into 2025 Spring Fresh season. And Nintendo Switch 2 upcoming Direct on April 2nd, 2025. So that is everything I have for you for video game news and information this week. And there is still one more section of this show. I'm going to tell you after this music what is going on with all my favorite teams, a journey through my sports fandom, and you can go through the ups and downs and a lot of downs, and you don't want to miss it. So come back right after this music for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 118, after this. welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 118. This is where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports, as I always like to do, and tell you about what's going on with my favorite team. So it's been a little bit of a drought for my sports fandom over here. I am patiently and not so patiently awaiting the start of the baseball season, which I think I learned earlier today kicks off on the 18th and 19th with the couple games in Tokyo, and then the full slate of games starts on March 27th. So looking a whole lot forward to the Atlanta Braves season, my favorite time of the year for sports, and I'm just really excited to have the baseball back, especially after this a little bit of a sports drought. So I'm going through my favorite teams as always. The Carolina Panthers, my favorite team in the NFL, looking towards 2025, getting hype for Bryce Young over the offseason, talking some trash to some friends about how good Bryce Young is, having some fun there. I'm looking for J.C. Horn to get paid is one thing I want to keep saying on the show until it happens. So I want to see J.C. Horn get a contract extension and be a Panther, and an extra wealthy Panther for 4 or 5 years, or how many every years they want to sign him for. So please give J.C. Horn the bag and the years and keep him on the team. The Panthers will pick 8th overall in the 2025 draft. We're having some combine stuff going on, so I guess the draft is upcoming shortly. So that is pretty good news. I'm excited to see what the Panthers are going to do. I think they have a lot of room to improve. I don't really want to see them make any big splash free agency signings over the summer. I really just want to see them draft a lot of good players and get them in the mix and have them grow alongside Bryce Young and the crew. So that's kind of my hope there. But we did see an NFL trade go down last night, kind of maybe the first of the floodgates, and we're seeing Deebo Samuel get traded to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. So I don't know if that comes along with the Commanders paying Deebo. I'm going to guess probably no. But very exciting for the Commanders to get Deebo on their team. He's a dynamic weapon. He's only ever been with the 49ers, I guess. And he's had some ups and some downs, and he's had some really, really high highs. And he is from South Carolina, or he played at South Carolina, so I like that about him as someone from the Carolinas. And, pretty cool for the Commanders. They're building a really great team over there and have a lot to be excited about. And it's been a long time coming for the Commanders fans, so, shout out to them. And they have a really fun team to watch, even from the outside, so pretty good there for them, getting Deebo on the squad. So hopefully he's excited to go there, go play with the young, well, not a rookie anymore, but they're going to be the sophomore phenom. And, Scary Terry out there and the whole crew. So a pretty great team out there in Washington, D.C. So that's all the NFL news. As far as the NBA goes, my two favorite teams, I am a halfway Charlotte Hornets fan because I live in North Carolina now. This past week, they played Monday at Sacramento. The Hornets lost 88-130. They played Tuesday at Golden State. The Hornets lost 92-128. Thursday at Dallas. The Hornets lost 96-103. And Saturday in Charlotte versus Washington, Hornets lost 100-113. So a full week of losses. Very disappointing there, but has been a little bit typical for the Hornets this year. They've been struggling really, really bad. So it was nice to see LaMelo was playing in the game on Saturday. He's been up and down with some injury stuff, so I think it's always a question mark going into some of these, and it's kind of at the point now of when are they going to shut him down. So probably kind of the same with Brandon Miller. I don't know if they have too much to play for besides trying to develop these players and get them more reps and things like that, but I really don't know what the plan is here necessarily. There are some young guys on the team, which is nice, but I think you would like to see kind of some more improvement than we've been seeing. But that is the Charlotte Hornets news. My favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks, has been kind of in the same boat, not doing so great. So in the past week, they played Miami. The Hawks won 98-86. They played Miami again, actually in Miami this time, and the Hawks lost 109-131. So traded games with Miami. On Friday versus the Thunder, the Hawks lost 119-135. Thunder are one of the best teams in the league for sure. And then next week, the Hawks have Memphis, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Indiana again. So I don't think I mentioned, but the Hornets in the upcoming week is Golden State, Minnesota, Cleveland, and Brooklyn. So let's see here. I had a gentleman's bet with a friend of the show, Pab, about the Hornets last week, and I lost because they played Dallas. So let's see if there's any crossover for a potential some type of a wager with Pab over here. Golden State, Minnesota, Cleveland, and Brooklyn. No potential. So we will see. Just keeping that on the radar out there. Always trying to get a win against Pab, and can't always do so, but when you do, it is nice. All right. What else is going on? So that's everything for the NBA. And then for MLB, I already mentioned I'm just waiting on the Braves season to start. Off season for the Braves. Spring training is in progress. I haven't really put my eyes on too much spring training because I think my thoughts on spring training right now are I just want everyone to be healthy. I don't want to hear any injuries. I don't really need to see anything in spring training. I don't think it really means too much besides, getting out there, getting some reps, getting your body back adjusted, and building up some conditioning. I don't think there's really too much to watch as a fan that is not stressful really at this point. After having watched, after being a fan for so long, there's going to be some type of injury on some team that's going to be very disappointing. And I'm just hoping it's not going to be on the Braves, because the Braves need some really good health this year. I think it's something that they are due from the universe for some bad luck. And I want to see a whole season of Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider and many, many more on the team. And I just want them to get healthy. So hopefully they're having a successful spring training. And I'm looking forward to the start of the season on March 27th, 2025 at the Padres for the Atlanta Braves. And I think the games in Tokyo are the Dodgers and the Cubs. A friend of the show, Pab, who I mentioned, is a Rangers fan. So their opening series is against Boston. So I am a halfway Braves, and if I have to pick an AL team, I'm a Rangers fan. So I do have a little bit of, split allegiance these days. Even my sports heart is growing. As I get older, welcoming some more teams in the mix here, and hopefully not turning away on any of my favorite teams, which I would not hope to do so. So thank you for listening to my sports journey here, and that is everything I have for the Miscellaneous Talk section this week. And I didn't have any other MLB news. All the signings have really calmed down. The only really big trade that's happened over the week that I wanted to mention was that Debo to the Commanders in the NFL. So that's all the sports talk I have for you this week, and it's actually going to wrap up the entire show. So just thank you so much for being a listener. I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you would like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So that's everything I have to say. I want to thank you for being a listener. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. Whatever you're doing, whenever you're listening to this, I hope it's going good, and I hope it only gets better. And that's not the way it's always going to be, but hopefully you're listening to this show and enjoying it. And thank you for being a listener. Hope you play some video games in the upcoming week. Hope you watch some sports. Hope you have some time off work. I hope you get a raise at work. I hope you get a new job. I hope you go to a party. Hope you eat something good. And I also hope you come back and listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show next week, because that's where I will be. Thank you once again for being a listener, and I will talk to you next time.